Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are taking what I think is the ultimate shortcut to ancient wisdom. We're plunging deep into the philosophical toolkit of Epicurus.
Right, the man who founded his community not in some formal school, but in a refuge he just called simply the garden.
Exactly. And our mission for this deep dive, based on the material we've got, is to figure out how this ancient philosopher defined happiness. Not just defined it, but built a whole system around achieving this absolute unshakable tranquility.
And we have to be clear, this is not about hedonism as we, think of it today. It's a radical quest for peace.
Yeah, and to get there, we need to get two Greek concepts on the table right away. They're really the foundation for everything else.
Ataraxia and aponia.
That's it.
Yeah.
So Epicurus' whole project is, you could say, instrumental.
Yep.
It has a purpose. It's meant to serve human happiness.
Right. And that happiness is achieved through two goals. First, you have ataraxia,
Which is?
the absence of any spiritual disturbance. So no worry, no fear in your soul, just calm.
And the second one is aponia.
Yeah, the complete absence of physical pain in the body. So if you can eliminate both of those things, both of those disturbances.
Then you are, by his definition, living the good life.
Precisely. He's not teaching us how to, maximize our consumption or chase sensations. He's teaching us how to live a life so calm and so moderated that external events, even the really terrifying ones, they just can't shatter it.
Okay, so let's unpack the mechanics here. We'll start with his four-part remedy for fear. Then I want to get into this surprising thought experiment from the sources.
Oh, the electric car one.
The electric car one, yeah. How Epicurus would judge modern tech. And then finally, we really have to analyze the role of friendship because it's complex.
It is. So to get to that core tranquility, Epicurus realized that philosophy had to act like a doctor. He saw it as a four-part remedy, the quadripharmaco.
A medicine for the soul.
Exactly. A medicine designed to cure the four main sources of our suffering, the four evils. By correcting these deeply held but false beliefs we have about how reality works.
And these ancient fears were the huge roadblocks to achieving that ataraxia. So what were these four big anxieties and how did he just dismantle them?
Well, the first, and maybe the most paralyzing one back then, was the fear of the gods.
Divine providence, fate, all of that.
Right. In the Hellenistic world, people were terrified of divine interference, of retribution, of a destiny controlled by these, capricious forces. Epicurus just dismissed this fear completely with his scientific theory, atomistic materialism or mechanicismo.
Okay, so help us understand the mechanics there. Why would physics solve the spiritual fear?
Because it replaces an unpredictable fate with a predictable neutral law. His system, which he borrowed a lot of from Democritus, says that the universe is just two things, atoms and the void.
That's it.
That's it. Everything that happens, human life, the planets, even the gods themselves, it all just happens because of the natural movement of atoms. If the gods even exist, they're too busy being perfectly happy and tranquil in their own little corner of the universe to bother with us.
So they're models of tranquility, not cosmic executioners.
Yeah.
But if the universe is just, atoms bumping into each other with no divine purpose, no moral scorekeeper, how does that not just lead to nihilism? Doesn't that remove all meaning?
But that's the key difference. Epicurus wasn't interested in cosmic meaning. He was interested in human meaning. His goal wasn't to figure out the purpose of the universe. It was to find a guaranteed path to human happiness.
I see. So once you realize the universe doesn't care about you,
you're free. You are totally free to focus on what you can control, your desires, and your state of mind. And that, for him, is the ultimate liberation.
Okay, that brings us to the second and third fears. These are about pain and pleasure.
Correct. The fear of pain. He manages this by pointing out that pain, while it's inevitable, is rarely lasting when it's severe.
Right. If it's really intense, it's usually short.
And if it's long, it's generally mild enough to be managed. The focus is always on getting back to that state of aponia, no pain.
And the third fear, the fear of the absence of pleasure. This is where he makes his most, I think, significant intellectual move. He completely redefines what pleasure is.
This is absolutely critical. Most people think of pleasure as kinetic, a process, the act of eating, the pursuit of luxury.
The chase.
The chase, exactly. Epicurus argued the highest pleasure is actually static, katastomatic. It's not the act of removing pain, it's the state of having had the pain removed.
So true pleasure isn't the delicious first bite of food.
No.
It's the feeling of being completely full and satisfied, where the hunger and the craving are just gone.
Precisely. And once you realize that, you see that chasing lavish excesses, piling on rich foods, expensive clothes, it's not just unnecessary, it's counterproductive.
Because luxury creates complexity.
It creates dependency, which leads to more worry, more turbamento, and that just defeats the whole purpose of achieving ataraxia.
Which leads us to the fourth and final fear, which the sources say is the biggest challenge to human happiness: the fear of death. This fear makes us waste our lives worrying about something we can't avoid. And this is where he gives us that famous line, "Death is nothing to us."
And that profound statement isn't just a nice thought. It's completely rooted in his materialist physics. That's what gives it its punch. It's a two-part argument.
Okay.
Part one is the physics of the soul. We've already established everything is atoms. Well, the soul is too. It's made of finer, lighter atoms, but still atoms. They're mortal.
So when the body disintegrates,
The soul atoms disintegrate too. There's no immortal essence that floats off to be judged or to suffer. It just ends.
if the soul is mortal, then the fear disappears because consciousness just stops.
Which leads directly to the logical conclusion. The soul is the seat of all sensation, all perception. When the soul dies, sensation ceases. Therefore, as he says, when we are, death is not yet, and when death is, we are not.
You'll never meet.
You'll never meet. So it's philosophically senseless to fear something that cannot cause you any harm, because the very thing needed to feel harm, your consciousness is gone when it arrives.
That is such a powerful argument for self-sufficiency. You eliminate the one inescapable fate by understanding you will literally never experience it.
Right. The ultimate cure for anxiety is just recognizing the limits of your own existence. Oblivion can't hurt you.
Okay, now let's take all of this and apply it to the modern world. I really love this thought experiment in the sources. If Epicurus used his strict, what he called his pleasure calculus, to judge something totally modern, like an electric vehicle, an EV, what would he decide?
It's a brilliant way to test his principles, isn't it? The sources suggest he would actually appreciate EVs.
Really?
Yeah, but for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with speed or status or 0 to 60 times, he's looking for things related to tranquility.
Okay, so first up would be reduced disturbance.
His ataraxia.
Precisely. Epicurus valued silence. Combustion engines, with all their noise and vibration, that's a massive source of turbamento. Disturbance. A silent EV gliding along instantly reduces that noise pollution. It creates a state of calm.
You're not buying a quiet car to listen to music, you're buying it to be able to think.
Exactly. Then second, physical health, or aponia.
He believed in living according to nature, reducing toxic fumes, which he would definitely see as, heavy, disturbing atoms corrupting the air and the body. That helps preserve your physical health. It removes a source of potential pain.
And the third one is independence. This connects right back to that philosophical liberation.
Yes, independence, autarky, the ability to charge your car with, say, solar power. That reduces your dependence on volatile oil prices, on global supply chains, on wars over resources.
All huge sources of anxiety.
Huge. If you're reliant on fewer external things you can't control, you're much less likely to suffer spiritual disturbance.
But here's where the analysis gets really, truly Epicurean. He would absolutely reject the luxury EV. The electric supercar, the giant Tesla Model X, all that stuff would be non-natural and unnecessary pleasures.
Oh, completely. They're too complex, too expensive. Their cost and complexity generate more worry than they offer in utility.
What kind of worry?
Well, think about it. The fear of theft, astronomical repair costs, social envy, or even admiration both attract unwanted attention. All of that directly contradicts the pursuit of tranquility.
So the ideal Epicurean car would be the absolute basics. A small, essential, maybe even a Dacia Spring or something.
His choice would be all about simple functionality, getting from A to B reliably, anonymously. It's all captured in that famous quote, "If you want to make Pythocles rich, do not add money, but subtract desires."
An expensive car is just ostentation, and that creates disturbance.
Right. The simple anonymous car lets you follow his ultimate goal. Lay the bejuices, live hidden.
Okay, so simple functionality, reducing turbamento inside and out.
Yeah.
That brings us very neatly to the most challenging part of Epicureanism for a lot of critics. Human connection.
Friendship.
Yes, because critics have always struggled with this.
Yes.
How do you reconcile the goal of absolute self-sufficiency with the fact that he lived in a commune, the garden, and he gave friendship the highest possible praise?
What did he say? Of all the means to happiness that wisdom has devised, none is greater, none more fruitful, none more delightful than this.
See, that sounds like a contradiction. How can I be perfectly self-sufficient if my happiness depends on other people? This is where critics say he's either a consistent philosopher but a bad friend, you know, too mercenary.
Or an inconsistent philosopher, but a good friend, because his generosity contradicts his hedonism.
So which is it?
Well, this brings in that important distinction between egoism and selfishness. For Epicurus, friendship isn't an intrinsic desire like hunger. Its value is instrumental.
It's a tool.
It's the most reliable external tool for security and for reinforcing your philosophical commitment. He called it the coat of varnish protecting the contented life.
So the purpose of friendship is fundamentally egoistic. It serves my own tranquility, but that doesn't automatically make it selfish or exploitative.
Exactly. In fact, it mandates completely generous behavior, because the philosophy has already rooted out the reasons you would exploit someone. A good Epicurean has tamed their desire for wealth, for honor, for ambition. They have no reason to be greedy with their friends.
So what did this fellowship actually look like in the garden?
It was very disciplined. It wasn't about aggressive philosophical debates like in Plato's Academy. The central domains were things like common meals and remembrance ceremonies, almost like a hero cult.
What do you mean?
They'd honor the dead by telling stories of their exemplary lives, like how Epicurus himself remained so calm in his final hours. It reinforced everyone's commitment to the ideal.
But I still have to ask, doesn't this attachment to others make you incredibly vulnerable? Vulnerable to chance, to pain, which is exactly what he's trying to eliminate. What happens when a friend betrays you? Or worse, dies?
And that is the crucial vulnerability critique. Epicurus defended it by emphasizing that this fellowship is built on shared values. It's not spontaneous passion.
It's engineered.
In a way, yes. They root out the causes of discord, greed, ambition by their shared commitment to ataraxia.
And what about the inevitable loss of a friend to death?
The remedy is already there. It's provided by the conclusion that death is nothing to us. Instead of intense mourning, Epicureans practice a kind of mindfulness, phronesis.
What does that mean in practice?
They're taught to focus on the pleasant memory of the past intimacy. The joy a friend gave you doesn't have to be gone forever. The memories remain a source of pleasure and tranquility right now.
It's a completely self-contained system.
Right.
Okay, the final test for a lot of ancient critics was what they called the nobility test.
Right.
Would a true Epicurean be willing to die for a friend, to show true selfless virtue?
And Epicurus would just say the test is irrelevant. Critics like Cicero assume that nobility and fame are good things in and of themselves, separate from pleasure. Epicurus rejects that premise entirely.
Because his ideal is indifferent to fame and to death.
Why would you seek a noble, painful death when the whole goal is to live a quiet life free of pain? The sources point out the contrast. A great commander's death is famous, but philosophers like Epicurus mostly die in their beds. There is nobility in a calm, peaceful end.
So if we pull this all together, the Epicurean system is hedonist through and through. It's egoistic at its root. You value friends for the tranquility they bring you. But the irony is that this self-focus ends up generating this highly generous communal society.
Because it teaches you the futility of ambition and greed.
It's a perfect circle.
It is.
Yeah.
You seek tranquility for yourself, but you realize the most effective way to guarantee that tranquility is to surround yourself with people who share those same moderated desires. And that results in a community of radical generosity.
Okay, so let's unpack what this all means for you, the learner. We've gone deep into the sources, and what we found is that the ultimate Epicurean mission is this pursuit of invulnerable tranquility ataraxia. And you don't get it by becoming a hermit, but through clear philosophical understanding, intensely moderated desires, and the security of a supportive fellowship.
And what's so fascinating to me is that distinction between egoism and selfishness. So think about this for a second. Epicurean friendship is egoistic. It fundamentally serves your own highest good, your tranquility. Yet it demands a communal life that, in practice, looks completely generous and supportive.
So what's the question for us?
Well, what does it mean for your own life that an ideal society, one built on shared happiness, might be egoist at its core, but completely generous in practice? It really makes you question whether motive is what truly dictates the outcome.
That is definitely something to ponder the next time you're deciding what car or what philosophy is going to reduce the most spiritual disturbance, the most turbamento in your life. As he said, friendship dances round our dwelling, inviting us all to awaken to the call of blessed happiness. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the garden.